Another day, another creature. This time, Galiryn. To be direct, no, it's not worth buying. Alright, calm down. The straight up verdict is obviously less nuanced than a full explanation. Galiryn is by no means a bad creature, but it's not so exceptional that you should try to trade for one currently. The rough value of Galiryn right now is 10 to 12k, and it honestly has more staying power than I gave it credit for. Concerning supply and demand, eventually Galiryn will drop, but for now it seems comfortably situated in that mush range. Moving on, Galiryn is mediocre when it comes to PvP. It's by no means bad, but you're not likely to decimate an entire server with this species. As I'll always suggest, Galiryn has the potential to receive buffs and or nerfs, especially considering how dated this video could become. That said, unlike a handful of other species, it doesn't feel like it under or overperforms. At the very least, this means that those of you who wish to buy Galiryn won't actually have to worry about it changing drastically. On the other hand, this means that it likely won't receive buffs, and that makes it not stand out among other flyers. Looking towards Galiryn's stats, they're very reminiscent of Felicio's. It's important to recognize this distinction, seeing as Felicio is a much cheaper alternative to Galiryn. I would stress this further as I believe Felicio also outperforms between the two. If you're looking to buy Galiryn and haven't yet tried Felicio, it would definitely be worth a look. Focusing more on Galiryn, however, they're overall solid. One glaring downside of using Galiryn is that it lacks bleed. This can be remedied through various methods, including using its breath optimally. I very rarely see Galiryn players both landing bites and actively breathing on their opponent. If you plan to use Galiryn without a cat plush, be sure to proactively use your breath in order to stall both the heal and stamina regeneration of your opponent. Other than lacking bleed, Galiryn is a fantastic all-around flyer. With the likes of 2 offensive poison, it holds its own in terms of ailments. One feature that also rarely gets recognized is night vision, which it has 3 out of 3. For those of you who can't stand the nighttime fog, me included, this is practically required. The other quality of life feature of Galiryn is the fact that it lacks a moisture meter. You won't find yourself required to return to the water like you would with, say, Felicio. As for actives, Unbridled Rage is, well, I can't recommend anyone use it unless you're very clearly winning a fight. Galiryn suffers with 1 glide regen as is, so removing your stamina regen entirely for a 30% damage boost won't be worth it during most cases. Notably, Galiryn is all-terrain. Depending on the player and how it's utilized, all-terrain flyers can be the bane of a server's existence. This gives it some brownie points, but again, it's highly dependent on the skill level of the player using it. When fighting with Galiryn, try to remember that at any given point, you can rush into the water with your exceptional 40 fly speed to avoid dying. Don't forget to use portals either. They can regularly save you from dying just as much as diving into the water would. Just as with the last video, I can give some recommendations on how best to set up your Galiryn. For traits, health is unreasonably versatile, and although Galiryn lacks in terms of stamina regen, I would be neglecting the fact that damage seems the most noticeable. As for plush recommendations, a cat plush is almost required. Otherwise, feel free to use the likes of a reindeer for stamina regeneration or a void plush for some extra damage. A friendly reminder that most damage boosts are additive and not multiplicative, so stacking as many as you can is far less advantageous than one might assume. Truthfully, many flyers can achieve or even exceed what Galiryn can, and do so at a much cheaper mush cost. To put everything into perspective, if you really enjoy Galiryn, it'll be worth your mush. I understand that many of you buy your species not based solely on the PvP aspects. As a guide, Galiryn will work perfectly fine when fighting. It has a fantastic model, and the animations are some of the best creatures of Sonaria has to offer. This is arguably more important than the stats for a great many of you. Thus, I've taken a moment to appeal to the ones who aren't so enamored by KOSing like much of my audience is. So, would I truly recommend buying Galiryn? Yes and no. No in the sense that I would never trade for it. I would, however, buy it with the daily tokens if you can. Save your mush for another creature that you can't so readily acquire, say for example a creature that's locked to a certain event. Realistically, if you play this game on a regular basis, it won't be long before you have those 45 daily tokens and can get yourself the species. If anything, this made getting Galiryn more personal to me. It almost felt rewarding. Hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not you wanted to buy Galiryn. As always, if there are any species you want to know more about or are potentially buying, leave them in the comments below. If you felt the video was informative or enjoyable to watch, please leave a like. And if you appreciate high quality Creatures of Sonaria content, subscribe for more. Thank you as always for watching to the end. Bye for now.